Hello and welcome. This is the fourth and final video in the series which explains how to configure Hauptwerk to run with the electronic stop labelling project. As you can see, I've already started Hauptwerk and I've loaded the St Anne's organ, and it contains all the stop text data that we added in part 3 of this series. So let's open up organ settings and MIDI LCD control panel for this organ only. And the first thing we should probably do is to ensure that all of these are all okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll quite quickly one by one through the entries and check that there is a complete sequence of LCD ID entries in this table, because that's what we need. We may find that you will need, at the end of each section, bear in mind there are 3 sections, entries 001 to 020. They are the entries which handle the swell organ in the St Anne's instrument, and they are actually the inner double column, that is the column which in both stop jams is nearest to the keyboard. As you see, we've got 01 twice up here for the left and right stop jams, and those entries contain data which we've been through to ensure is correct. 002, 003, 004, 005, 018, 019 and 020, and they contain the data for the swell organ. Now, the layout of the swell organ on the left and right stop jams only occupies the first 14 LCD ID records, so we have got 6 sets of records spare. I notice in the swell section of the virtual organ stop jams we actually have 5 couplers, but I'm actually going to leave one of those out and put it into the great section because it's great to pedal. So we've just got 4 to add. So we will put these in from 17 to 20, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Before we put any actual individual coupler records in, we're going to enter the word coupler into the upper line of the space, and that will appear in a moment. There we are. And then what we're going to do is go to 17, and we're going to add the first of the couplers, and the first of those couplers in the swell section is swell unison off. Swell unison off. That should fit, and it does. In 18 we're going to add swell octave. There it is. Then in 19 we're going to add swell suboctave. Fine, that should fit, and it has done. And then finally, for that section in 20 we're going to add swell to pedal. Swell to pedal. Good. Right, so we've dealt with the swell couplers now. In a moment, when we've done the others, we will see what they look like on the stop jams. I'm just going to scroll through all the great labels. they end on LCD ID 30 with the open diapason small 8 foot and 31 is empty. In the great division we have 4 couplers. We have swell to great, we have swell octave to great, swell sub-octave to great, and we have great and pedal pistons coupled. So for those 4 we will go 37, 38, 39 and 40. So we're going to highlight all of those first of all, and then we're going to type coupler. And that has now appeared duly. So let's deal now with the one which we're going to put into 37. Into 37 we're going to put swell to great. Swell to great. Good. In 38 we're going to put great and pedal pistons, because this is the great and pedal pistons coupled. Great and bed pistons. This should be satisfactory display, and it fits great and pedal pistons. Good. And then for 39 we're going to add swell octave to great. Swell to great. And I think I'm going to put a capital O for octave if it will fit, and it does. So that's that. We're now on the last coupler in the great division, and that is swell sub-octave to great. Let's see how that fits. Swell. Can we get the word sub-octave? Sub-oct to great. There we are. Okay, so that is all of the great organ couplers dealt with. Finally, there's one for the pedals, and the pedals occupy LCD IDs 41 to 60. So let's just check that they're okay, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those, so they stopped probably at 47. But we will scroll right down to number 60, and in 60 we will add the word coupler, and we will put great to pedal. Great to pedal. And that will be fine. And now we have completed our addition of the couplers. The next thing, and the final thing, is we're going to add text to the top 4 OLEDs which we have across the top of each stop jam, and we're going to add some details about the organ, the name anyway, and then we're going to head up each organ division. So we only have 60 entries in here on each jam, but we've got to add another 4 on each jam in order to accommodate these 4 extra labels. So I'm going to hit insert 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to allocate these as 61 and 62 and 63. You notice how I have to scroll down for every one. That's why in our previous discussion we avoided that, because we actually put an intermediate value into all of our LCD IDs that was appropriate roughly to the area in which we were going to be dealing with the labels. The last one here is 64. There we are. So now we've got 61, 62, 63 and 64. Now 64 is the name of the organ. We'll put this in here. We've set the MIDI out port to the left jam for the moment. We'll change those for alternate records to the right jam, and we'll also highlight them all here as well before we deal with 64, and we'll set those to user defined label text. Right, we're not actually labeling stops of course at the moment, but Hauptwerk's not fussy about that. We can deal with it like that. Now let's go to number 64 and let's give it the name of the organ up here, which is of course St. Anne's, and then we break the first line after St. Anne's, and then we're going to type in the second line, we're going to type Moseley, because that's where it is. It doesn't quite fit, okay, but we follow our previous method and we just carry on the next line, where we have to just add an EY. And then on these special labels, these 4 labels across the top, we actually have 3 lines of text on each. So we can use 3 lines of text to give information about the organ. So what I would normally do is I would specify the country using its international symbols, and this would be EN. Now, when we're breaking the first line break, we use the caret. But on these 4 OLEDs, we actually have available 3 lines, so we have a second line break, and the symbol for that is the asterisk or star. So I've done that, and then I'm going to type EN. And on this, when we see it, this St. Anne's will occupy the first line, Moseley will occupy the second line, and EN will occupy the third line. So that's the 64th LCD ID OLED dealt with. I'm now going to highlight 61 to 63, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put organ. That should come along in a moment. There we are. Then I'm going to break the line and I'm going to go division. Right, if I can get all of that on, so far so good, but I don't think I can. Yeah, I've got all of yes, I've managed to get all of organ division on, so that's fine. Let's see if I can get the asterisk on that line or not. Yes, I can. So the organ division is going to be entered then individually in each of these records. For 61, that's the inside on both stop jams, that's swell. Okay, so we've got organ, then a line break, division, then the second line break that we use just on these OLEDs that are across the top, the 4 of them. And then for this OLED, it's going to be swell. For the number 62, it's going to be great. And for number 63, it's going to be pedal. Right. Now it may amaze you, but we're very nearly finished. All we need to do is to select the second LCD ID in each pair. There we are. And change their MIDI output to right, because we set them as left before as a kind of shortcut. And then if we close that dialog now, and then we will send all of these new data to the stop jams by hitting File, here we are, and Save. Okay, I will tell you that because the four OLEDs across the top of each stop jam are not serving two LCD IDs each, they're not serving two labels, they're only serving one, you will find they will update straight away because their data doesn't require any processing in order to interpret the LCD ID in a rather special way that we do to enable us to have two stop texts on each LCD ID. Right, all that remains is for us to now see whether these entries that we've recently made are correct, and then the job will be completely finished. So if we look, we can now see that the coupler details are properly shown on those OLEDs at the bottom of the swell and grate, and also here are the labels containing the details of the name of the organ and its location and our three divisions. So that's it. May I thank you for going through these videos, and I wish you the very best of luck in configuring your ESL project.